Good evening, everyone. My name is Debbie Singleton, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Welcome to my Monday evening lives. And it's been a little while since I've been here, so sorry about that. Hopefully everybody's had a great day and great weekend. It has been a long week for me and a long weekend. I have reorganized my craft room and actually gained a craft room because we turned in a den into a working studio for me, and my other craft room we turned into kind of a storage room for me for my craft stuff. So I actually inhabited two rooms. So we have been quite busy. And it is beautiful now. We're not quite done putting stuff on the walls and quite making both rooms complete, but it is amazing. It is, we painted and we reorganized, and it's just amazing. So my sister Jeannie and I have been busy for a little over a week now making this all happen, and I am so happy with what's going on. So I'm super thrilled and excited about what we've transformed. So we've done such an amazing job. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for joining. Hopefully everyone's getting organized. And I'm so excited about this weekend because I'm going to crafting retreat. So I now have to get ready to go do that. So can't wait to go and spend some time with a whole bunch of people and do some more crafts. Now that I'm organized, I'll be able to pull what I need to go do that for the weekend. So that'll be super fun. So we got done Saturday. And so Sunday had a little bit of time to prep for this card. And then it was so nice to come into the studio and be able to sit and look out a window. I've been looking at a wall when I work, and so it was nice to be able to look out the window and work. And I thought, oh, I want to do another card for Halloween. When I did my last card for Halloween, I had said I wanted to work with the witches, do the Bewitching and the Best Witches. And so I pulled those two stamp sets and thought, okay, thanks, Mom. And so I pulled them and then kind of got some ideas. So I kind of pulled a card together for another Halloween card, and I had some fun with it. And so I got some colors together and did a card for that. So that's what we're going to do tonight, is we're going to work with another, got some fun with the card. So we're going to do another Halloween card before Halloween comes and goes, because it's already 1st of October and I don't know where this year is flying by, but it's certainly flying by really fast. But so I thought I would have some fun. So actually I did a lot with this card. It's a simple card, but I did a lot of stamping, cutting, and layering. So I thought it would be super fun to do that. So I'm going to show you the card. It's really fun. And then I'll show you how we did the card and what we used and how I did this whole thing. But it's super fun, super easy. So let me kind of flip this over, and so that you can see the card better. There we go. So this is, since I reset this up, I gotta remember how to do this. So here's our card. So we did a little coloring with some colors, and then there we go. There you can see it better. It seems like it's upside down. Maybe I have to turn it back around. I've been turning my thing around. So we layered this. There's 3 layers on top of the card, and then you open it up and you can still write something too, but I also stamped inside because it seems kind of bare, but you can also leave it. And you notice it's got kind of a diagonal cut to it. Well, that was a little tricky for me, but I did figure it out. So it's a basic card. Oh, well, that's frustrating, Sarah. Hopefully you'll be able to catch up super easy. But I put all the measurements too in my little front thing too. So, um, but it's super simple. So the basic card is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then to get this little diagonal, it's super easy. So you stick that in your score and you turn it diagonal, and at the bottom you put this at the top of your score, and then at the 1 1/4 mark, and then you cut it so that it'll cut diagonal for you. But that just seems super cute, and I thought that was super fun. And then our pieces are, I'll go over the piece layering when we get to it. And then I thought it was super fun to have black and white. Well, when I cut the second piece, I did not diagonally do it correctly. My diagonals are going the wrong way. So you have to be careful when you do that. This one's going up and down. The one that I'm going to put together is going the other way. So just be careful of that. So I cut our card. So here's our base with our diagonal. So I already scored it. So I'm going to good crease. And so the DSP that I used, see how I have it going this way instead of going up and down, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it can go either way. You can have the directions going either way, but so the DSP that I used is called Black and White Designs, and that is also in the catalog. But I just thought that was so fun to use black and white, because that's what Halloween is all about, is black and white as well. So I cut the designer series paper piece. I cut it at 5 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then I did kind of the same thing, and I put it in my trimmer and I cut it at an angle as well. But then I also had to do a little bit of trimming once I got it in there. I had to kind of trim it again to kind of fit in here, because you want to have a little bit of the orange showing. So you kind of have to trim it down even a little bit more. So you have to kind of play with it and then kind of cut it again. So, but it does work. So you just have to kind of finesse it a little bit, but it is kind of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on, because I know that that's gonna go on there. I'm gonna put that in there. Then I did some more layering with my colors, and I thought, purple and green are some other pretty colors for Halloween. So I picked Gorgeous Grape, and our new color is Parakeet Party for our green. So, and then of course we need white, so we can tie that all together. So that's going to sit like that. I'm going to set that aside. So our first layer is the Parakeet Party, and that is 4 by 2 3/4. And then our purple, which is our Gorgeous Grape, which is just because I love purple. And you could use black if you wanted to. That would also tie in as well. But that's our second layer, and that's 3 7/8 by 2 5/8. And it just gives you just a teensy bit of, you can see just a teensy bit of the green when you do it that way. So you just put it together and you barely see that, but it just gives it just enough. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that on as well. These pieces, they're gonna, and I'm almost out of glue, so I got a new glue out just in case I run out. Today when I was gluing, I'm like, oh, I'm just about out of the glue. This is just a little tricky because it just barely is around the edges. It Just gives you that layering look, and I thought it was so nice. Okay, then you get to it just peeks out. And then our white piece that's going to go on top here, this is 3 3/4 by 2.5. So I'm not going to put that on yet, just in case, but I want to stamp on it. So I decided that I'm going to stamp the feet, our witch's feet. This is what they're going to look like. They're super cute. So I'm going to stamp those on there first, just so that I know where they're going to go. And we're going to color them in as well. And you also need some scraps of white because we're going to do the witch's hat, and then you're going to want to stamp that on a scratch piece, and then we're going to use the punch and punch the witch's hat out. So we're going to stamp these first because this is going to kind of go down toward the bottom. The witch's hat will go up toward the top. So I had a scratch piece already out that I used earlier. It won't really matter. Let me scratch a piece of white. Stamp the hat. And the witches, these two are, you could use any witch's hat you want from the set. They're all cute. It's called the Bewitching stamp set. That's so cute. You can use any one of these. And I chose to use this one, but you could use any one of these. You can use the one with the spider web. You can use this one and color it different colors. But I use this one with the dots and this one. It was cute. They're all cute. But so we're going to use this one. Ink it up. And then we're going to color it and then cut it out. Yep, perfect. Right. So I decided to use, we have different kinds of markers. And so I just pulled the Stampin' Right markers just because they're smaller, and I just pulled them out, but we have the other ones too. So I used the Gorgeous Grape, and I color the circles. And I mean, they color so nicely. They really do. And then I'm going to color the bands, and I'm going to use the other end. Here. And then I'm going to use the Parakeet Party. Color these little baby circles. And I'm going to color another band. And then I'm going to use the pumpkin pie to color the other circles. I did it differently on my hat, but it doesn't really matter what color you color, what circles. It's your hat. You can color them however you want. And you can even color them different colors. I just matched them. Okay, and then I'm going to color the other band. And then we have this. I'm going to color her socks, the Parakeet Party. And then her buckles, I did with the Daffodil Delight. I have a lot of yellows, so you could pick whatever yellow you want. That is all the coloring we are going to be doing. Okay, now we can punch this out. When you purchase the Bewitching, you can purchase that as a bundle, and you can get the stamp or the punch. I mean, and then you can punch all the witches' hats, and then it also punches some stars and. All right, I did it today. It does fit in here. Have to kind of maneuver it around. See how you like it? And all the shrapnel comes out at you. Put that away. And there we go. I want the stars. Okay, so then I put the hat on with dimensionals. Look at this. I put 3 dimensionals on. Here, and 2 down here. That on. I also stamped, now you could stamp almost anything you want else on this. You could pull out another one of our stamp sets and stamp Boo. You could stamp, this is just so cute. Stamp Boo here. I stamped the spider, but you could stamp the frog out of this one. You know, you could stamp just about anything. So I stamped the spider coming down. I thought that was kind of cute. So, yeah, spider coming down. Thought that was super cute. So now that I've done all my stamping, I'm ready to put the white piece on top of here. Let's put some glue on. And because I've layered so much, the only thing really that I dimensional was the hat. I don't want to dimensional too much because I've layered so much on here. I just dimensional the hat. Again, we're going to just kind of get the edge of the purple now. It's in my hand, but trying to just get some edges. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now, on my card, on this first one, I stamped you, if you've got it, haunt it, which I thought was really cute. And I did that in the Parakeet Party. I think I'm going to do it in the purple. I think the purple will stand out. So I think I'm going to stamp that in the, I have a scrap of purple. There we go. That'll be dark enough. Then I used our Label Me Fancy punch. And that also just, oops, it goes this way. So then you just kind of put that in. And just cut off just a smidgen on the side here. Like how that sits in there. Get in here more. There we go. I'm going to center that. Sorry, I'm just not in the camera. My camera is not set up quite right. All right. Oops. Okay. There we go. Yes. Okay. So we're done with that. So also while I have this stamp pad out, let's stamp our little sentiment inside. You could leave it blank, but I thought it would be cute to, it's kind of, you could make it kind of like a birthday card because it says Best Witches, which I thought that was so cute. So I'm going to put that on the inside, and I'm going to stamp kind of, not all the way in the middle, but down a little bit. So you still have room to write. And I thought that just looked kind of all by itself. So also there's these little stars, which I thought were super cute. I'm gonna put this way. I can stamp. So I thought that would be super fun. So let's stamp these. Yes. Here we go. I think that looks really cute. Let that dry a little bit. And then we're ready to put the card all together. So we can put this in the inside. That still gives you room to write. So we'll assemble now the rest of it. Inside. And our inside piece is normal, so it's 5 1/4 by 4. Okay, so when we want to put this piece on, go this way, sorry. You want to remember that You don't want to put glue or anything on the whole piece because otherwise you'll glue it all the way and then you won't be able to open it. So what I did was I just kind of centered where I thought I wanted it to sit. And I also decided where I wanted this piece to go, just to make sure that it was on this. So I want this up just a little bit, and I want this. So I want this to sit here. I also put dimensionals on if you got it haunted. So I want this to go, and I'm gonna put my dimensionals on this and put this on, and then I'm gonna stick that on and put just 2 dimensionals on. And then I know where I can put the glue on. Make it easier. I have this on here. And there. Now I can kind of decide, okay. And I kind of just put the glue just a little bit on here. It was a little bit easier. A little bit of glue. Oh, whoops. Didn't do that. Put it back on there. That way it's gonna stick on there, but you're not gonna stick it. And this time I actually, you can see that I have a star sticking out there, but that's okay because that kind of looks nice too. But on mine, and somehow I must have not put it all the way to the edge, but that looks really cute too. And then I still thought, cards always need bling, I think. But it needed something else. So I got out our classic matte dots and I thought it could use some dots to it. So got out some dots, I thought. So, hi Monique, thanks for joining. So I thought, let's put some dots on here. And I didn't stamp that very centrally. And I thought it would be really cute to put a dot at the end of the hat. And then I thought, oh, we could put a couple of dots on the little thing here. And I think that would be really cute. That's probably enough. Just needed a couple more little jazzer uppers. So there is our card. And I like the purple, pulls out the purple there. Again, either color works, I think. So you can decide which color you want to use. Sorry, I've been fiddling with my camera, getting it back into focus. I think it's upside down, isn't it? Let me see if I can flip it. So, no, I can't. Sorry, making everybody sick now. All right. Now I just made it worse, didn't I? All right. Okay. I'll figure it out. Okay, so here's our 2 cards. Where are we? There we are. There we are. Okay. There's our 2 cards with 2 different colors at the bottom and a little bit different coloring how I did, but they're still almost the same. Oh, and then I thought we don't want a naked envelope, so I took the DSP and I also decided to put it on the envelope. So you could just take an extra piece. I had an extra, like a little piece left over, so we can add it to the envelope so that you have it matching your card. Will match on your card. So just glue that onto your piece. Okay. Put it on your envelope, and then it'll match part of your card. And we don't have a name card. I had all these angles, so I had leftover pieces of angles, and you can save those and use those on another card as well. But once that dries, then you can just snip that, and then you'll have a nice added piece for your card. And there's our cards and our envelope. And there is our, I gotta remember, I'm gonna go up this time and not out. So that's our card for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me, and I will see everyone next Monday for my live, if not at Sarah's retreat. Have a nice week. Thank you for joining. Have a nice evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.